Alright, we've gotten all the other specialty categories out of the way. All that remains now is the meat and potatoes of the SMB Romhack scene. Custom levels. Of the 41 level hacks we'll be looking at, 21 of them contain only 30 stages or less. The mode of this strata of data comes out to 20 stages per hack though. In an attempt to go in some sort of functional order, we'll start with the shortest hacks and work our way up, and just go by release date for when ROMs contain the same number of custom levels. Without further ado, let's get going. Oh boy, what a way to start this section off. Okay, so this ROM hack just replaces one of my favorite stages from Super Monkey Ball 2, 8 bracelets. I've mentioned this one before as a shining example of how good Monkey Ball can be at physics-based movement, but this wasn't exactly what I had in mind when I said that I wanted these design concepts expanded. 66 bracelets gives you exactly what you get from the name, and for what it's worth, it was pretty fun to boot up and just see that. Ultimately, though, it is just one gag stage I added to this retrospective purely because I got a laugh out of it. See, guys, I totally had a Christmas special planned for this year. Yep, all intentional. Anyways, as far as little novelty hacks go, this is pretty great. It's only 10 stages, but they're all pretty solid, even if the level theme is a little bare. It really does strike me as like the Christmas DLC things Sega used to do back in the Dreamcast days. Maybe if we'd gotten that Monkey Ball port, we would have seen something like this officially. Ah well, tangent aside, I recommend checking this one out. I'll be honest, I mostly like this one for the aesthetic alone. The idea of a mini-golf themed Monkey Ball world is such a categorically good idea for a game like this, I'm surprised no one else has otherwise tried it. Either way, this one is still a fun, albeit really easy, set of 10 short levels with a fun gimmick. My only complaint is a lack of a skybox, but I'm sure that'd be easy to implement. You could even use one of the ones that's already in the game and it'd be less distracting. Give this one a go. Yeah, I really don't have much to say here, considering I used like 12 save states just to finish the first level, then decided I had my fill. If you want ludicrously difficult stages, this is definitely a place to start. There will be more like this that we'll look at later on as well, but try this one if you're into that, I guess. Okay, so point 1. This ROM hack is 10 stages long, and yet for some reason is split into 2 downloads that both replace the same stages for some reason. Hopefully it gets properly compiled into one release at some point, but I digress. This ROM hack appears to just, in general, be pretty early in development. I have a bias for seasonal or time of day gimmicks and stage themes though, so the aesthetic is pretty good in my book, although the assets are undoubtedly rough in spots. The level design, on the other hand, is just okay. It's pretty much entirely manual, meaning that no switches or other SMB2 tools are used in its design, though that isn't to say that there aren't still good stages. Nest and Chills are pretty cool for what they are, but most stages feel rather unfocused and closer to long Marble Madness-y type courses. If you like that, more power to you, but it's not what I usually look for in my Monkey Ball stages. Monkey Ball Hyper is fine. It works as a perfectly functional set of 10 levels, plus one finished extra stage, but doesn't do much more beyond that. Campsite is the obvious standout level, but it falls into a similar trap as a lot of these ending exam format stages. I'll go more into that in the later ROM hack though. Overall, this one's a perfectly functional, if perhaps unexceptional, set of 10 stages. Check this one out if you're interested. Here we've got something I wasn't expecting to find. A game jam. For those who've never heard of one, a game jam is a developer meetup / competition where a number of groups, often in teams, develop small games in a limited amount of time. They're a lot of fun to watch, and many of them offer voting to decide which game wins the competition. Here, though, we have similar events where level creators compete by creating stages under otherwise similar rules. Frankly, newer level jams than this are out now, so I'd recommend just giving the latest one a go and catching the next one when it happens. I'll be sure to check these out as they happen if I can. Not sure what happened with the skybox in the park theme. It might have just been incorrectly compiled on my part, but otherwise this hack runs perfectly fine. This one is a super simple 13 stage beginner set. It's got some fun stages like Banana Split and a good show of extra stages, but that's about it. This is probably the most in early development of all the hacks I'm covering in this retrospective, but nonetheless I decided to include it since the levels that it has are surprising in their ingenuity and their variance. You start with this creative use of jump pads commonly found in these ROM hacks for the use of a wall jump system. Then you get this massive sprawling level that I really wish there was more of in Monkey Ball in general. From there you've got branch work for a great maze level that rewards momentum, and confidence, which has a pretty interesting gimmick to it. I don't necessarily mean to oversell this one though, it is still in early development after all. I'd probably recommend you check out these levels in a more complete state via a later release, which may or may not be out by the time of this video's release. Nonetheless, I'm very impressed by what I've seen so far, and can't wait to see what else is in store for this one. Guess we'll move from new to old. These 3 ROM hacks are from a bit earlier in Monkey Ball ROM hacking's existence. They were re-released just a few months ago as of writing this, so I decided to give them a look. Monkey Ball Odyssey by Krabs appears to be the most incomplete of this bunch, but it nevertheless manages to bear some quite solid levels, and, while sparse, have some nice custom assets, perhaps most notably in its more complete extra stages. Monkey Ball Vintage by Anthe is far more complete and, for an early ROM hack, looks surprisingly polished. It mostly shines in its extra stages, and I especially like its use of essentially a 2-act structure within them. While not particularly cohesive between the 2 themes it chose, the idea of using Sonic Mania music, or any Sonic 2-act music in general, to emblemize its 2-act feel was a good one. It also has a handful of momentum-based stages, notably Staircase Chaos, which are just entertaining because fast. Finally, we have Monkey Ball World Tour, the third of this little re-release trilogy. This one is similar to the others with its own solid levels and ideas. Pick Your Poison and Cuphead certainly stand out, but that's about it. Overall, I'd give all 3 of these a go. They've got their share of worth playing levels.